of projects, and they're going to be all based on holiday decor. We're going to start with Halloween, and we're going to make placemats and napkins today. So I hope you'll join me, and I hope you'll like this video and subscribe. It would help me a great deal, bring more videos to you. This is the first of about 4 or 5 videos we're going to do on Halloween. We're going to start with placemats and napkins. We're going to do a table runner. We're going to do a wall hanging. We're going to do pot holders and kitchen towels and whatever else I think of. So once we're finished with Halloween, we'll move to Thanksgiving and then Christmas. And each project will be different. They won't be the same as they were for a previous holiday. So let's get started on today's project. We're going to need, I'm choosing to make 6 placemats. You can make as many as you want or as few as you want. But I chose 3 Halloween prints, this one, and this one. And then I chose some coordinating prints out. All of these came from my stash. They're all quite a few years old, so I don't know that if you can get any of them again or not. And then we're going to need some batting to put in our placemats. We're going to need some fabric for napkins and some strips for our stem. We're going to do a new way of making a napkin ring. So let's get started, and I'll give you all the measurements for just one. Please excuse the dog squeaky toy. Okay, we're going to need 3/8 of a yard of your backing fabric, 3/8 of a yard for what will go on front. This is a piece that is about 13 inches tall by 18 inches wide of batting. I just use scraps left over from quilts, or you can just buy a crib size piece of batting and cut it up. We also need, and a 3/8 of a yard of each of these will make 2 placemats. You can get the same amount out of 3/8 of a yard. You can get 2 just as easy as you can get 1. Then the napkin is 18 inches square, so you can get 2 napkins out of a 1/2 yard of fabric, plus our little piece here that's about 6 inches by 2.5 inches. And you get all that out of a 1/2 yard. Now I have a pattern here that I drew, and you can draw your own, or I will have this pattern in my Etsy shop, hopefully by the time this video goes up, but if not, it'll be there within the week. And because I like my things symmetrical, I cut it on the fold so that both sides are the same. Now, it's not the same this way. It's very close, but this dips a little bit deeper, and this is a little bit more narrow than down here. And in case you haven't guessed by now, we're making a pumpkin. Okay. What we need to do, well, first of all, let's do our napkin. And our stem. This is going to also double as for another purpose. We want to fold it right sides together, and we're going to put a seam in it and then turn it inside out. I'm going to use my tube turner to turn it. There are other ways to turn things inside out, and I have a whole video on different options. Just look for the one on tube turning, and I will try to remember to link it below. So let me go sew that. Now that we've sewn our tube, I'm going to put the seam in the back. And iron it flat. And we're going to put this aside for a little bit. Now for our napkin, it's very simple. All we're going to do is hem all 4 sides. Now there's several ways you can do it. I'm just going to do the easiest, which is turn a 1/4 inch in and then another 1/4 inch and stitch around the edges. You can also use a hemming foot if you have one on your machine, or you can, my favorite way is to use a serger and use a rolled hem foot on that, and it'll go real fast. But not everybody has a serger, so we're going to do it this way. And I'm going to turn this 1/4 inch over, and the way I do it is I just turn the first 1/4 inch over, and then when I go to the machine I turn the next one over. I don't iron both of them. Okay, I'm going to go to the machine now and turn the other one as I go and stitch that. When you get started, take your top piece and make sure it's double folded. Then your side piece, you want to double fold on top of that. Take a few stitches and back stitch. And then take your seam. And when you get to a corner, you want to turn in the bottom piece first and then turn it to the side, and that will make you hopefully a neater corner. Pivot on your corners with your needle down and continue on the same. And when you get to the end, your corner should already be folded. Now let's give it a good press. And I'm going to fold it once this way and once this way, because that's how we're going to use it in a little bit. So we'll lay that aside also. Now we want to take our 2 pumpkin pieces and put them right sides together. We want to take our stem that we made and we want to center it, let it stick up just a hair so you know you've caught it real good. And I'm going to pin it, and I want it to stay straight. So I'm going to put a couple of pins. I was going to clip it, but I think pins would be better. If your stem ends up crooked, it's no big deal. Pumpkin stems all look different. Now we want to take our batting, and I cut it with the same pattern, but then I cut it down about 1/4 inch. And that's because I don't want to have a whole bunch of bulk in my seams. You don't have to do this. It looks like I could trim it a little bit more over here. You don't have to do this, but it sure makes for less bulky seams. Now I'm going to go around and pin it, and we're going to sew it about a 1/4 inch all the way around. But we want to leave an opening so we can turn it. You need an opening about the size of your hand so your hand can get there and flatten and everything out. And I've tried leaving it open several different places, and I find that the best place is right down here at the bottom. If it's too curved, it's too hard to iron your seam and get it nice and curved to match the rest of it. So we're just going to take that other pin out. I don't want to run over it. We're going to leave ours open there. You may find that it's easier to leave it open someplace else. But I find that the flatter the area, it's kind of flat here too, and that would work. Now let's take it over to the sewing machine. I'm going to start here and go all the way around and stop here with about a 1/4 inch seam. Now I'm going to put a little clip right here at the bottom center and one here at the top center, and you're having to cut through that stem, so it's a little bit tough. Then we need to trim and either clip our seams, or if you've been around here long enough, you know that I like my pinking shears, and that's what I'm going to use. But we're not going to trim at this place we left open. So we don't want to cut our seam. Be careful about doing that. I'm going to have to get my scissors sharpened. They're getting a little dull. If you don't have pinking shears, you can just put a little clip about every 1/4 inch, but don't cut all the way through your seam. This is just to help it lay flat on the curves when we turn it inside out. Okay. It's trimmed all the way around except where we're going to turn it. Now let's turn it inside out. But before we do that, let's take that pin out that I was holding the stem with. There. Now, I want to make sure that the batting is laying nice and smooth in there and that all of our curves are out. I'm going to give it a press on this part. Now then, we want to turn this to the inside on both sides. And I'm just going to turn it there up to the clip. Now I want to take it over and top stitch it about 1/4 inch around. I like the top stitching to be about 1/4 inch from the edge. I think it looks better, but you don't want to get too far out here that you don't catch this seam. So if 1/8 of an inch works better for you, do that. Okay. Okay, it's top stitched all around. Before we iron it though, I want to put my marks on, because this pen will erase with heat. So use some sort of erasable type instrument. They make some that are dissolvable by water. You can just squirt them with a squirt bottle, or some will dissolve in air just with time, and others take heat. And we just want to mark our quilting pattern on here. And I'm going to start right here at the edge of this tab and just kind of go out a little bit and back in. We're trying to make this look like a real pumpkin. Okay, and this doesn't have to be perfect by any means. All pumpkins are different. Then I want to put another one. You kind of swing out wider through here and do the same on this side. I try to make it kind of symmetrical, but it really doesn't matter. Having trouble seeing that one. Okay, and then one more. Okay, that gives me a guideline of where to stitch. So I'm going to take this over to the machine, and I'm going to stitch like this, and then right on top of my top stitching, and then go up, right on top of my top stitching, go down. That way I don't have a lot of loose ends to try to deal with those threads. Okay, this is our last step, and then we can put it all together. Okay, we have finished our sewing part of this. Let's give this a good steam. Ironing hides a wealth of mistakes. Okay, that took all my marks away too. Let's see how good a job we did. That's pretty symmetrical. Okay, now the last step, we want to take our napkin that we folded in half and then in half again, so it's 1/4 size, and just kind of bunch it up. We're going to stick it in this stem, and it's kind of hard to get it started sometimes, but it'll go in there. kind of shape it around so it looks like a leaf. And there is our finished pumpkin. Now I chose to do 6 of these in 3 different prints. To use at my dining room table. So there's all of mine ready to put on the table. You can do them all the same if you want. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you will come back next time and see what we're going to do next. Add to it. Don't throw any of your scraps away, because we're going to be using the same fabrics on all our projects. I have 2 to 3 yards of each of these, and we're going to sew till I use it up. Okay, thank you. Remember, whatever you do, do it to the glory of the Lord.